Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video game review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Knack 2 for the PS4, though. Knack is kind of an odd game, or not, I shouldn't say odd, but a game put in a very odd place. It was originally came out at the time when the PS4 came out, and it sort of earned a bad reputation. I mean, not a lot of people liked it, though. A lot of people hated it, though, and including popular YouTubers like Jim Sterling to even Angry Joe, although I believe he's come out and said he's not big on platformers, though. And while the game definitely earned a lot of hate, though, and I didn't really hate the game at all. I actually kind of enjoyed it, though. There were some areas I think the original Knack could have improved upon, though, but it wasn't as terrible as some people said. Some of it may be because I grew up playing platformers as a kid growing up, though, both the 2Ds and the 3D ones as well. That said, it sort of earned a not a great reception, though. And while the game did sell, the first one sold very well, a lot of people I think most of us could point to the fact that the reason why it sold very well was because the game was bundled with the PS4 when that came out at the time. So, several years later, we get the sequel that some people didn't expect was going to happen, though. And while Knack 2 might not win a whole lot of people over, though, I will say, based on my time with the game, it is definitely a vast and big improvement over the first one. Still some hiccups, but still a better game than what I would have thought better than what was in the first one. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons. So started first with the pro. First one I will say is the gameplay has improved. Based on my time with the game, though, it is definitely better. Like I said, it's definitely better than the first one. You have your punch and kicks, attacks and all, and the best way I could sum up the gameplay is think gameplay similar to that of, say, like what God of War was to a certain degree, though. But you know, not violent or anything. This is more family, kid friendly, though. But either way, combat is fun. The game, it's sort of fast paced, and basically the puzzles are kind of limited. Minor puzzles in the game, but mostly some of them can be easy to understand. Other times, if you have a hard time, excuse me, a hint icon will show up, and that will basically show you how to deal with the puzzle. So it's kind of like an assist mode in a way, sort of. But overall, in terms of gameplay wise, it's fun, it's enjoyable. I like some of the mechanics they put in, such as in certain situations you have to shrink down into little Knack to go through certain areas, to hitting goodies, and combat is still fun and overall. So in terms of gameplay, it's an improvement over the first one. And the second part, of course, is the storyline, though. One of my big problems with the storyline is that I felt it was a little bit confusing, and it felt like it wasn't fleshed out as well. This time around, I will say it's a bit better. Based on my time with the game, though, obviously we know who it's the battle still between the humans and the goblins to a certain degree, but I just find the story just flows a bit better than it was in the first one, though. So overall, story's better. And last but not least, so I will say that I do like the fact that there's an option that you can turn on the game at 30 frames per second or not, though. Personally, I have it off, and based on my time with the game, although I don't know how that will show up on the gameplay footage, but based on my time with it, it looked like it ran at 60 frames per second, minus how the cutscenes are running, which looks like they run at 30. But you do have the option to turn the game 30 frames per second on or off if you want to. That depends on your taste. I chose to turn it off, but that's how I play it. So it's a nice feature to have there. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we get back, we're going to get to the cons for Knack 2. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our review of Knack 2 for the PlayStation 4. Now that I gave you my pros about the game, why don't we get started with the cons? And there are only about 3 that I could come up with, at least based on my time with Knack 2. The first one, and this is probably a common thing in some games though, is the fixed camera. Now I've said this before about fixed cameras before. I mean, they're not necessarily bad, but there are times when the camera does get that one angle that you don't want it to be, and that could kind of throw you off in terms of the controls though, and Knack 2 is no exception. While it doesn't make the game unplayable, at least from my time with the game, there were times when it felt like you wanted to rotate to get camera to get a better jump, or try to see if there's like a hidden exit that you're trying to find, but you would see if you find that exit and it's hard to sort of you can't rotate the camera and everything. So again, a fixed camera could be an issue sometimes. It doesn't impact the game, or at least it didn't impact it with me, but it can be a problem for some people. The next thing I do want to point out is that, as I said before, I don't know if I said this before, but the visuals in the game, I will say that they are good, but they're nothing mind-blowing though. I mean, they're not terrible looking by any stretch, but when compared to other PS4 games, I mean, it's not awful. There are plenty of bad visual PS4 games. This just doesn't look anything special or anything mind-blowing or anything like that. So visuals are okay. Just don't expect anything mind-blowing out of it though. And last but not least, as I said earlier though, I mentioned that the story was better, and it is, but it's not the greatest story in the world. It just feels like, you know, something to just keep you moving and moving. It doesn't feel like you're entrenched in it or anything like that, compared to, say, other games that have like fantastic stories, like say the Metal Gear Solid series for one example. So it just doesn't feel that way. It just feels more like it's just pushing you forward and so on. Again, not terrible. It's certainly better than it was in the first one, but nothing to write home about. No. Overall, Knack 2 is definitely not a bad game. At least for me it isn't though. It's definitely an improvement over the first one with better gameplay, a better storyline and all, and visually it doesn't look that bad. I mean, it to me, it comes off as that it checks off everything it needs to be a good game. The disadvantage Knack 2 has is that compared to Knack 1, that could piggyback off the PS4 when that originally launched, and it was basically to show off what the capability of the PS4 can do. Knack 2 doesn't have that, and those who may have been burned out by the first one there's a possibility they could probably skip this one though, which to me it's a disappointment though. But that said, it's still a good game. It's by all means not a Mario killer or anything like that. Anybody who goes around thinking Knack 2 is going to be a Mario killer, you might want to sort of lower your expectations if that's what you're heading for. But overall, I did enjoy the game. I think Knack 2 is a fun game. It's not going to be for everyone though, but if you like platform style games or gameplay that's similar to that of, say, like, you know, other games that had fixed cameras, like say God of War or Devil May Cry, it can be a fun game. Just keep in mind that while it has that similar gameplay, it's basically, the best way I could sum it up is that, think if Disney or Pixar did sort of a God of War like game or anything like that. But either way, overall, I had fun with Knack 2. I think it's a fun platform game, and it's also something to play on my PS4, not to mention keep me occupied until Super Mario Odyssey comes out. But overall, I like the game. I would be open to see if Knack 3 would happen, although I wouldn't be surprised if people ignore this title by any chance, which it would be a disappointment, but I wouldn't be shocked by it. But if you didn't hate the first one as much as I did, like I did though, then I would say give Knack 2 a try. I think it is a fun game to play though. Okay, this concludes this video review of Knack 2 for the PlayStation 4. And again, these are my opinions, but what are yours? What are your thoughts about Knack 2? Do you think it was an improvement over the first one? Do you think it was an improvement at all? Were you burned out by the first one and I have no plans to pick up the sequel, or do you feel like you want to give the second one a shot, thinking that this one will improve upon the first one though? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree with my review? Do you have a difference of opinion though? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. It could either be through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description. Also, if you want to see some gameplay footage, links will also be in the description as well. It's evening in Southern California, so I'll be getting ready for bed soon. That's my phone going off, all that. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good evening then.